And we are back. This is Two Coaches, One Grizz. I'm Frank Morales with my esteemed head coach, Gil Laura, and the fanatic, the Grizz, Mario Mesa, and our illustrious producer, AC. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Sir, once again, blessed, thankful, and appreciative to be here.
December has started. The winds of autumn are here.
The winds of
Football
autumn.
season.
The winds of winter.
Winter has come, but the autumn season is still among us. And the football season is getting crazy. Let's talk.
Yeah. No, we're just going to jump right into it here. I mean, it was a crazy weekend. Quarterbacks going down. Races are starting to heat up. People are getting healthy on the other side. It was a fun weekend to watch in football. We're gonna jump right in here with the Miami Dolphins and San Francisco Giants. I do need to give credit where credit is due. Coach was on the money last week with this call. He said it on the pod on episode 54 that San Francisco's defense was going to step up and that Miami was going to struggle. And we look at the numbers, he was all over it. Okay, the Dolphins were 0 for 7 on third down, a 0% third down efficiency. They had half the total plays that San Francisco had, and they had 4 total turnovers. I mean, San Francisco dominated.
It doesn't help when both your tackles are out. It doesn't happen when both your offensive tackles are out. It hurts. Our defense really has not played that well all year. It's an up and down defense. The offense has been the one who's carried this team. Again, I had a discussion a week ago with one of our friends, and I talked about regression to the mean. And they were like, well, Coach, what's regression to the mean for Tua? What? I go, well, regression to the mean is somewhere between last year, the year before, bad Tua, and this year where he's been awesome Tua. There has to be a regression to his mean. He's not that great. He's a good quarterback, solid guy. He's going to make big plays, smart kid, but he's going to have bad games. He can't always be the highest accuracy quarterback in the NFL. That's impossible. Not even the GOAT. Not even the GOAT.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers had a crazy streak there for 5 or 6 years where he threw a total of 4 interceptions or some craziness like that. But
he named him Aaron Rodgers.
And he's
after how many years?
And he's up to what? 12, 14 or something like that this year?
Like I said, after how many years did he hit that? It wasn't his first, second, third year.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was in the middle. It was like the middle 4 or 5 years. Right.
And that's just it. We tend to forget that this is Tua's third year.
This is his third year.
Third year in the NFL. I mean, come on.
His first full year, the couple games
under a good system.
First full year with a good system. He's got the talent we've talked about. The guy had a bad game, like you said. Every quarterback in the history of the NFL has had a bad game. He's had bad games in the last couple of years, but yes, this year, when he started a game and he finished the game undefeated, breaking records on a team that's had Dan Marino. So, yes, we went from everybody hating on Tua and then the crazy amount of hype how Tua could be an MVP. However, he should be in the discussion because he's played to that level.
He can be in the discussion.
But is he the number one player in the league? No one. I haven't said that. I'm just saying I think we can win and win big with this guy with everything around him if it goes well and no injuries, which is, I think, everybody in the NFL, every team, their playbook. Let's not get hurt. Play with the talent we have, and if we think we're good enough, we're going to win. Now, you're playing against the number one defense in the league. You're down the tackle, like you said. Remember, first play of the game didn't look too bad. Right off the bat, 80-yard touchdown to Sheffield, if I believe. So it wasn't even, Waddle or Hill.
I got Andy on that one.
There's everybody there. So here's the bottom line. The guy had a bad game. The score's 33-17, which is not even close to what it should. It was 23-17 with around 5 minutes to go. They went for, I would say, a very gutsy call at the 19. They can't make third downs, you're right. But they made a fourth down at the 19-yard line, down 6. Ballsy. Once again, the man has him. But we didn't connect on a fourth down to Gesicki. They got a field goal. First play of getting the ball back. It's a tip. I think Tua went down with an ankle injury at that point, too. Bosa was an animal. and they scored a touchdown.
Listen, when
So
you got
it
when you
went
got
from-
when you got Bosa
Yeah.
playing against backup tackles,
Correct.
I think your odds all of a
Listen.
sudden increase exponentially.
All understood, and I get it. They were down and all that stuff. Hopefully they get healthy, and this was
Well,
more.
this is going to be a tough
This
week
was more
because
of an anomaly than anything else.
Waddle was banged up. Tua got banged up, and he should play, but still, you still got issues at tackle. So again, this week against the Chargers is not an easy week.
Oh, you got two
Well,
studs. You got
nothing's easy.
you got another Bosa brother
No,
there.
but he's hurt.
And you
He
got
hasn't
Khalil Mack.
practiced.
Listen,
Bosa's hurt.
we've
He's
talked
hurt.
about
He's
this all year. The 3-game road trip was going to be the hardest stretch of the year for the Dolphins. Niners, Chargers, Bills. 3 games. You just got in the last couple weeks, both the Charger game and the Bill games were upgraded to 8 o'clock primetime games. The league wants you to see this team play and now play against really good teams. So now it's time to step up. I had this pegged as an L all year because of, regardless, playing at San Francisco, I knew their defense was going to be tough. Remember, Garoppolo went down early. You got the third stringer, Mr. Purdy. We lost to a nightclub that I used to frequent here. Okay, fantastic place.
Heard.
Oh,
But we lost to that guy,
R.I.P. Purdy.
and here
Lou
we
Sanchez
are.
Purdy.
And to be honest, I think
Love
we
that
win.
place.
To be honest, I think we win with Garoppolo. And this kid Purdy gave him, much needed life. He's a young kid, Mr. Irrelevant, I believe he was
Listen,
picked.
I want to say
Okay,
something.
but he was first team All Big 12. The kid's not a slouch.
Let me say
He's
something.
not you're
And I
drafted in the NFL. You're not a slouch.
And I want to
But you're
say
still our
this
third
here. I want
stringer.
people to hear this. That kid could be the diamond in the rough that the 49ers need.
Yep.
I
I agree.
He's a ballsy kid. He's tough as nails. I want to say that he has the best record at Iowa State, because it's not like Iowa State's been a pillar of college football.
To be a 2-year first team quarterback, all conference in the Big 12.
He was a
at
stud.
Iowa State
He
of
was a
all,
stud,
of all
and
places.
the Big 12 is a
says
passing
something.
league.
So what
That's
does
the
that?
other thing.
So what does that say to you? So I totally agree. I think, like I just said, I think the kid was better than Garoppolo. Now, having said that, so what are we looking at here? You're looking at a team that can draft a guy, the last pick in the draft, who's probably a perfect fit for them, right? But they also did move up to draft a guy number 2 overall that could be a huge bust.
Draft capital.
Once again, does it really matter where you get someone? Talent is talent. Anywhere can be found.
So 100% agreed on all that. Like all your points are well taken. I do want to touch, injured or not, I do want to touch on a couple things here. Okay, Miami Dolphins, right? I'm gonna quote, and only the most diehard football coaches and historians will know this quote. It comes from the Earnhardt Perkins system and offensive philosophy. Okay, throw to score, run to win. Okay, if you look at the total yards here, on the surface, there's not much of a disparity, right? 351 yards total yards by San Francisco, 308 by Miami. But when you look at the rushing yards, they only rushed for 33 total yards the entire game.
Well, that's been their
Throw to
Achilles
score,
heel.
run to win.
That's been their Achilles heel all year. They've won by the big play. We are very big play dependent. Let's not lose sight of that.
But they've been pass heavy all year long.
Correct, but
they
listen,
haven't found their run
but the
game.
NFL
And in December and January,
There's a
you
few
have to
games
run
that
to
they've ran
win.
the ball, though.
But the NFL has become a passing league. Now, my biggest concern.
Throw to score, run to win.
Again, I'm going to say it again. Listen, you only run to win because you're up in the fourth quarter. Now, with that being said, we are too big play dependent. That's my concern. If we don't get big plays, then all of a sudden we fall behind the sticks. We don't score.
Yeah,
we
you
don't
get off
do-
schedule.
And sadly, again, our running game is not something to hang our hat on. Our offensive line has been an Achilles heel for the last 3 or 4 years. It has not built up or been productive at all.
100%. Listen, and I agree with that. Now, let's look at San Francisco and the whole Purdy situation. Okay? Yes, the guy came out, has stones of steel, and showed some moxie, stayed in there, and delivered the ball while he was getting punched in the mouth. Okay? But you also got to realize, as coach's favorite saying is, there's a regression to the mean. That also tends to happen when teams have no film on a quarterback.
No, but you know what? I got to blame the defensive staff. Okay. First of all, they're showing 6, 7, 8 man fronts on the line every down. There's a guy on the other side.
But that's no different than any other week.
That's negative. That's negative because there's another guy on the other side of the
They show
field.
They show simulated pressure every week.
But there's another guy on the other side of the field that has a piece of paper. And that guy's pretty good calling plays.
One of the best.
He's one of the top 5, top 6 guys in the league calling plays. And he's calling easy throws for his quarterback because he opened us up with the screen game. That's how they started hurting us. All of a sudden, they threw side screen to receivers, a slip screen to McCaffrey, and all of a sudden, things started opening up, and it made the throws easy. He didn't have to stand in the pocket and take that pressure. He didn't have to really read the safeties moving, and as the play progressed, things were already there for him to read or just catch and throw. So that's where I blame our defense on. If you have a rookie quarterback, you have a young guy stepping in there, you pressure him, but from alignment. You don't put the guys and stack the guys on the line and make it easy reads.
Where I will give Purdy credit is that when we talk about the Big 12, right, where he played at, right, they're 3-4 defensive misdirection heavy, so it may have not been something that he was, not used to.
Like I said, it's a pass heavy league. So that's where you now, as an NFL coach, need to do things, like I said, on the fly. Not show him.
See, it also hurt. He was drafted this year, right?
Yeah.
So it also hurt. McDaniel didn't know him. See, McDaniel would have had Garoppolo done for the whole game. Not to mention, we can't establish any run. We can't establish anything if we got 19 minutes of possession.
Yeah.
We were just destroyed possession.
No, they doubled it. Listen, San Francisco doubled you guys up.
It was just bad.
79 total plays versus 45 total plays.
And like I said, with all that said, with 5 minutes to go, we're driving to take the lead and win the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this game seemed like we were just manhandled and we were still in it.
What jumps off the screen at you is just the physicality of the San Francisco defense.
Absolutely.
They are young, they're fast, they're physical. They play whatever type of game you want to play.
Their offensive line was physical as well.
Oh, they have the best left tackle in the game.
They blew us off the football.
100%.
But moving right along.
Yeah, let's jump into the other banger, the other lock call that we had in last episode, Kansas City versus Cincinnati Bengals. I think we were all over the Bengals last episode and came right through. This is what we do. This is how we do on this show. 27-24 Cincinnati Bengals, and it's like a replay of last year. Dark horse, they're getting healthy. Okay, they're lurking in the shadows. And now it was a little bit of a, hey, we're here, right? And Joe Burrow said it. It's December. It's January. We play. It's time to turn it up.
They play the Browns this week. It's not a good game.
Not a good game?
Not a good game.
Why?
Look up Joe Burrow's record against the Browns.
Well, why you got to rain on a parade for?
I'm just trying to tell you. Say that again. Over.
The producer chimes in here. Over. I think that changes.
It's a divisional game.
Once in a while, you got to take an umbrella to the parade because, unfortunately, it rains.
It's a divisional game.
It rains.
It's a divisional
That changes
game.
this weekend. Book it.
It's
You
a
got the Bengals?
divisional game.
Okay. Listen,
they're handing out 6 points.
It's also
Great
the fact
teaser,
that
great teaser material. Teaser material.
This is a great matchup. The Chiefs game is a great matchup for the Bengals. It just works out in their favor. That's what we said.
And Coach said it. Their strength was Cincinnati's weakness.
So
No, Cincinnati's strength is
I'm
Kansas
sorry.
City's weakness.
Yes. Sorry. Dyslexia.
So here's the thing. I agree. This is going to be a tough one for the Bengals. I don't know if they lose it because we'll mention a little bit about how Watson fared in his game against the Texans, but he's still 700 days it took him to get back, and against the Texans they didn't
take him a little
play
bit.
nothing. So I don't know how he's going to play. He's the oddball out. They might have a better chance with Brissett, but it's going to be tough because of that. It's their rival.
Nah, he's definitely got rust, and they showed again.
it's
their
rival.
offense didn't do much against the Texans. The Texans just suck. I mean, trust me.
I know that's why they should be scoring.
I wanted to take the points.
Yeah.
This week they're getting 17, and I still can't take them. Again, they're just that bad.
I know.
Because if the defense, then the offense says, no, here you guys, here's the ball, you guys score. They're just bad. But then again, Cleveland, for whatever reason, he struggles with Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to put up a good game. And again, I mean, I took the 6
and
already.
once
I
again,
like the
human
6.
nature. You rise up for the games against the Chiefs, this big game. You're all there.
So-
and you might, even though they lost to them, they did lose to the Browns earlier, so they're going to want that revenge factor. But once again, it's just a bad matchup for them. It's going to be close.
So
We'll talk about that.
Looking at it and kind of reviewing the stats, Patrick Mahomes only completed 16 passes all game.
Again, Cincinnati's done a great job.
Wow.
If you've watched them play,
Oh, I know that they were solid, but that's impressive.
He mixes up that 3-man front on him all the time. Their defensive coordinator has done a great job of down and distancing them on first down. He knows when to go to the 3-man front, and it drives him. He can't throw it. He holds until the pressure gets there. And if he tries to run, then the spy guy comes up. I mean, they've just done a really, really nice defensive job against Kansas City's scheme. And then Kansas City will start running the ball, and then they'll jump into the 4-man front. And I don't know if they don't audible out of it.
They're pretty versatile, and I mean,
Like
it's
I
also
said,
hoping that they're getting healthy as well.
I don't know if KC just doesn't audible or out of the run, and Pacheco ran tough. Pacheco has some nice runs, but again, it's just they can't sustain the drives.
Right. I mean, it's also kind of a function of how they're built, right? Like they're built for more of that spread it out offensive system. Like they're not really a team that's going to pack it in and pound the rock when they need to.
No, I mean, listen. Originally, the idea was playing.
They can run the ball, but it's more of an edge game.
Originally, the idea was going to a too high defense against Mahomes and force him to dink and dunk you.
Right.
Okay. Then they started running the football and taking advantage of that too high safety situation. So the running game was getting better. Now there's a new wrinkle. So now you go from that 3 to the 2 to cover 2, back to a 3-man front, and they don't have a good feel for it. For whatever reason, Cincinnati has their number.
Yeah.
Cincinnati just has their number.
And listen, let me tell you something.
And Chase coming back.
Like he
helped them a lot.
Listen, he
helped them a lot.
he looked great. Okay, there was no hangover from the injury, and they're only going to get stronger because Mixon is out.
Mixon didn't play,
so they're getting that back too.
So
and listen, I mean I know Mixon's a stud. He's bona fide, but listen, P. Ryan might lock that position down going down the stretch. He's a little bit thicker, coach.
Mixon's still solid. I think they have a nice 1-2 punch.
No,
I really
100%.
The only thing is Mixon always gets hurt at the wrong time.
Listen, it was a great rematch from the AFC Championship from last year. Okay, we may be headed for a rematch, and I have no qualms about taking Joe Burrows in that position. That dude's got ice in his veins.
That's why the Chiefs need to still finish with a better record, so they got the home field advantage, which obviously didn't help them up last year. But I would not want to play in Cincinnati in the playoffs against them.
Like they're going to be a problem, man. I love it.
But there's still a lot. Like I said, since he still has to play Buffalo later in the season, and they have a lot. They got to win that division.
Listen, the best thing that happened to Cincy this weekend was Lamar Jackson getting hurt.
100%.
That's the best thing that happened to them.
That's huge.
Going right
but
now.
Once again, if they don't win their games,
correct,
they're not going to go ahead of that, and they still need to beat the Ravens to get that tiebreaker.
Well, we shall see, won't we? All right, let's jump to other side of the hill here. We're talking about the young guns, right, and the stud young quarterbacks that we have in the league right now. We're gonna go over to the old timer, the GOAT, right? They looked awful for 37 minutes of that game.
And with that being said,
I'm sorry,
57
minutes of that game.
55 minutes of that game,
sorry.
they looked terrible.
I saw 40 there, but 57 minutes of that game. And then
they were dead and buried.
3 minutes left.
Done.
In true Tom Brady, he's the opposite of the Andion. That guy, the universe works in his freaking favor, and he just pulls it out.
He's a gamer. He is a gamer. And again, and I was mentioning to Grizz earlier tonight about whenever you saw Brock Purdy's face when he made bad throws in the 49ers game, how he was upset with himself. Here's a guy who's 45 years old, been in the league for 2,000 years, and when he makes a bad throw, he's pissed. Like, he's so mad.
It's like the first time
he doesn't
ever.
blame it. Yeah, it's like he's still in high school or a college game. He's pissed. And not at anybody else, but at himself.
He's every play he takes personal. And that's, you
That's what
got to
separates.
understand that exactly. To become greatest of all time, you have to separate yourself. You're not regular. And that guy, every play feels like it's his last play, or he's, this is not going to, this in the game. We got to win every game. It's like, dude, relax, bro. You got all the rings. You got everything. But it doesn't matter. That's why
There's
why
no
he's
chill.
That's
There's
why
no
he's
chill.
great.
Zero chill.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Some other guy wins. I'm 20-something, and that's why they never come back.
But let me point something out here to you guys. He passed the ball 54 times in this game. That is, if they ask him to do that to have to win, it's a no-go.
Coach,
Well, there's no way they're going to win anyway. Their team is terrible.
Oh, time out. They might make the playoffs. They might win.
No, they're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
What did I say at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
They play in the NFC South. They're going to make the playoffs. But they're at this moment, if they make the playoffs, they would have to host the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Good luck.
His overall QBR for the game was 37.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
I mean, you can come back 16-3 against the New Orleans Saints. And they shouldn't even be back.
What frustrates me, and I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
hold on.
What frustrates me is that, bro, the guy is just the luckiest human being on the
Of course
face
he
of
is,
the
because
planet.
I'm going to tell you why he's the luckiest person ever. He should have never even had that comeback. They should have lost 16-3. If Mark Ingram gets one more yard.
It's ridiculous.
Did you see that?
Yeah, no, it's
one
just
more yard.
it's insane.
He just saw the first down and he stepped to the right.
This guy's career is full of just the most ridiculous series of events happening to put him in a position to be successful. Tuck rule all the way down. Like, it's just, there's one after the other.
If
hard
that
work-
first down
don't
is
get me
made,
started.
the game's
Hard work
over.
pays off, brother. One
Don't get
way
me
or
started.
another.
Don't get me started.
One way or another, hard
Don't
work
get me
pays
started.
off. I'm gonna go back to that little caveat that you threw out about him throwing the ball X amount of times. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers run 67.5 plays per game. Out of those 67.5 plays per game, they only run the ball 33% of the time. They throw, and that's been all season. They've been doing that for 2 years now. Ever since Tom came on, they are a pass-heavy team.
Hold
They
on.
throw the ball 66.5 or 67% of the time of the game.
I mean,
every game.
You try to look up the stats here,
Every game.
Ace, but listen, they leaned on that run game last year down the stretch.
Coach, they do it in the fourth quarter. That's what people don't understand. When you win the rushing game in the NFL, it's because you're winning the game. The teams that rush the ball early get their ass whooped. Okay?
Who leads the league in rushing right now?
I'm telling you.
What team?
Hold on, give me 1 second.
The Chicago Bears. I'll sell
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Bears.
that's
It's the Bears, and the Bears suck. The Bears,
Second worst team in the league.
the Bears run,
And they established the run.
and again, here we go. 59.7 plays, 58.6% is run at a 5.4 yard per carry for 189 yards. What's their record? What is
you
their record?
talking about
The
Chicago.
Bears.
Oh,
What's the record? No.
Again, but that's
No.
Okay,
No.
hold on. But you're talking about two different styles of teams
It's
here.
what wins.
It's dependent.
It's what wins.
Yes,
We are
throw
in
to-
a passing
throw
league.
to score, run to
You
win. I
own-
get you.
and the only
But
reason you run to win is because you're running the
But
clock
it's-
in the fourth quarter.
I understand you, but it's also kind of like the Dak effect, right? Every time they lean on Dak Prescott, right, to throw the ball 40, 50 times, they put themselves in bad positions.
But that's-
when he
okay.
sticks to that 20 to 30,
But
you know,
but again, you're
range.
comparing apples to
But
oranges.
it's the same situation. You can't count
No,
on
it's
this guy
not.
to throw 60
But
times a
That's
game.
not true. That's not
He's
true because
46 years old.
okay, who
been
would you
doing it his
who do
whole
you want to
career.
make decisions?
Yeah, his whole career, not at
do
45,
you rather
46.
want you want the running back making the decision what hole to go to, or you rather have your quarterback Tom Brady to choose who to throw
I
to?
agree with you
Okay.
that in certain
we-
situations, put the ball
Last
to his
week-
head
This
and
is
he
a
can
different
fly.
animal.
But he
Last
can't
week-
consistently do that
last
anymore. He
week,
showed it. He showed
Todd
it in the
Bowles,
game.
Todd Bowles had a decision to make last week, and he took the decision and the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. They lost. They lost.
Yeah, but we're not. Now we're just.
No,
deflecting.
that's what it is. That's
This is this
That's who
team's
they've
motto,
been for
man.
2 years. That's who they've been for 2 years.
That's how it works for them.
telling you.
Last year, Tom Brady is not this year. Tom Brady.
No, yeah, you're right. He's a year older.
Okay, he showed it in this game,
But
he cannot consistently do that. They cannot lean on him down the stretch and have any sort of success. I understand that they're going to be one and done. I get
They
it.
were also behind the whole game, so they're going to throw the ball.
Yeah,
the throw's going to be higher.
I'm just saying.
I understand what you're defending, and I understand where you're getting at. But again, that is the
What was the
makeup
end
of this
result?
team.
It's not the same
was the end
defense
result, though?
as last year either.
Listen, and just for posterity, if I may, those of you that are following us on Twitter, we gave out the under 41 last night, an hour before the game. Never a sweat. Went to bed 16-3 with the under in the bag.
The Prophet Gilius.
You're also
it's
talking
not
about
it's not
one.
profit.
Remember
It's no
again,
profit. It's a division game.
the
Primetime
New
under.
Orleans Saints have owned Tom Brady. 3 games. This was their 3rd game, right, in Tampa. Before the 5 minutes, they were winning 63-6 in total points.
Yep.
They own the Brady-led Bucks. That's how he has to play. There's no running against this team.
Listen. All said and done, right? We're all coming from different directions here. You know what they're missing? The secret sauce. You know who that is? Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
I think they're missing that dude to push the right buttons.
No argument there.
Let's see what happens next week. They play the Niners.
Now let's
Let's
touch,
establish the run there too.
let's touch on a couple things from last week. Deshaun Watson looking like doo doo.
He's been gone for 2 years.
Grizz said it.
2 years,
off,
man.
Off air,
easy.
700 days, right?
Yeah, 2 years. And he's playing against his old team. There has to be some nerves. I don't care what it is, bro. You're playing against.
Do you know that the women were in the,
there.
The women were in the suite. They had a suite. They had a suite. They had a suite.
I mean, you
they
just
got
can't,
them a
That
suite.
is hilarious.
The women were
you
there.
can't make this up, man.
It was phenomenal.
So, like, I'll give that a pass, and they still end up winning. I think it was the most points scored by a team without an offensive touchdown in 30 years. Here's the thing. That was the cupcake. Welcome back to the NFL. He's going to get his rude awakening against the Bengals. Have we said? The Browns as a team has kind of had the Bengals numbers. This is going to be a interesting game. He's going to finish out the season, mediocrity. It's all about getting to next year. And hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Because if he gets hurt, all that money they invested on him, good luck.
Ain't nothing like game speed, huh, Coach? It's crazy.
Again, it's been 2 years. He hasn't played in 2 years. He sat out, and it's been almost 3 years. The guy can't play.
Speaking of game speed, okay, Dallas with the beatdown in the second half. Okay, let's put that way. They put the Indianapolis Colts to bed. However, that was a close game.
It was 21-19 going into the fourth.
Right. And then they just imploded. Right? Matt Ryan, bro, you're showing your age. Sorry, dude. But, what I hate about this and having to talk about this is that you get all the Dallas Cowboys coming out of the woodworks talking about we're Super Bowl contenders.
This is the best. I wish they would have scored 80.
But but they are contenders. Listen, we got to put that to the side. We have to understand they are contenders. Their defense is playing well. They have all the weapons they need on offense. Their offensive line is healthy. At this moment, they are serious contenders.
They are.
Now, will they fade in the playoffs like they do every year? Chances are.
The thing is, the Cowboys will do that most likely. See, they take away from the world of betting, the world of realism. They just have this thing. They choke. And you can't put a number on that. You can't. It's just they will find a way, as Stephen A. says, to mess things up.
It really is coaching,
so I like
coaching
them
decisions
to win early like this. It makes it fun to see the demise.
The letdown.
Yeah.
The precipitous
right
drop
now,
off.
they're 9-3. They're like, I've seen people that already have them ahead of the Eagles in their power rankings.
Yeah, the analytics and whatever.
You're 2 games behind a team that beat you. So, I mean, they look good. Everything looks great for them right now. But once again, they played the Colts. Who they play next week? They play the Texans. All right, your game is Christmas Eve against the Eagles. When we get there, we'll see how you are. Because at the end of the day, if they don't win the division, they got to go on the road and win every game.
100%. I agree with you. I can't wait for.
Now,
I
wanted to talk about your
implosion.
team in the same division. What was that, man? You guys just
bro.
You guys just can't make up and give yourself a little kiss to your sister, the Commanders?
I mean, all you got to do is kick a
Come
field
on.
goal in overtime. Like, what are we doing?
Covering. That's all
You
that
know,
matters. All
when
that
it
matters
comes-
is covered.
of course.
listen,
That's all that matters.
that's another world, and that's where he lives.
all
sir.
that matters is coverage.
I'm not
What else is
concerned about
important?
that.
I'm only
And you
gonna
don't
say this.
lose. You covered
only
and you
cool
don't
thing
lose.
is-
It's amazing.
The only cool thing for you guys is, or even the Commanders, a tie's good actually in this scenario. For all these crazy tiebreakers that are going to end up happening for the playoffs, like for instance, if the Lions would go on a crazy streak, they're 5-7 right now, and they would have tried to be tied with one of these two teams, they beat both the Giants and Commanders. So now you end up half a game back. That is dubious.
No, that's
so like in a way this will work. And funny thing is, in 2 weeks you'll run this right back again because the Commanders are on a bye and then they play the Giants again.
So frustrating. Now you listen. As much as it's a division rival, and I want to crush the Commanders, they've been white hot lately.
Oh, they've been playing great.
Heineken's playing really well.
White
Heineken's
hot.
playing really well.
They got
but
the
again, I'm gonna
quarterback.
tell you, that's another team that sooner or later they're gonna get a little bit of regression. It started this week because they didn't have a great game against the Giants.
No,
I thought the Giants played well. I thought that things went according to schedule, except the score. Except the score. That's the only thing that did
So
not go
frustrating.
according to schedule.
kick a freaking field goal. Anyway, we do have to touch on before we move on to this week's predictions. Unexpected, out of nowhere, after the Titans lose to the Eagles 35-10, ownership fires the GM, Robinson, who led the Tennessee Titans to 6 winning seasons. He never had a losing season as a GM, had 69 wins overall, did a great job of, putting that team together and riding the ship. And I think when
you let go of AJ Brown,
That's the start.
and you have nobody to throw it to, yeah, you're kind of signing a
well,
death sentence.
understood. But now where do they go from here? But
Somebody who won't trade away.
there
AJ
are
Brown.
there are already reports that there was something that happened behind the scenes, so I'm sure we'll talk about it going forward. But just had to touch on that because that was a little surprising news there out of a pretty consistent organization there. All right, gentlemen, let's jump to week 14. What do we got right off the hit? Grizz, give it to me.
Well, a big game in the AFC East. Jets, Bills. We're looking to see how the Jets can keep sucking because they again sucked again. We didn't touch about the Vikings game. But
Should have won that game.
They should have won that game because
Every opportunity to
kept
win the
kicking
win.
field goals, though. They didn't know when to go for it. They don't have apparently a coach that's willing to go for it because there were several times that they should not be kicking field goals in that moment, but they ended up. And then their quarterback situation's better because White, I'm telling you, is way better than this kid Wilson. So I don't like that. But once again, like I said, they find a ways to not win games, and they played against a team that has been lucky all year, the Vikings. And that, I think, once again, will come back to haunt them too. But going up against the Bills, I see nothing but domination from the Bills. As you were saying offline, you said everybody's hot on the Jets. Everybody's liking the Jets. I think Bills big. Bills want revenge.
The Jets are a popular play this week. They're getting over 70% of the bets. I also like the Bills to cover. I think they'll win by at least 10 points. I do think they'll cover 9.5.
Sounds good. All right, now we have to jump to the ass whooping that the Giants are about to get against the Eagles.
Sir.
You gotta have faith, man.
I do have faith, but
They're playing at home.
I'm also not an overzealous.
They're playing at home.
If you've learned nothing else on this podcast,
They're gonna cover, sure.
not only that, what kind of a game is this?
Slobber knocker type of game.
Rivalry game. It's a divisional game.
It's a division
It's
game.
a giant win outright.
You
game.
have a home dog.
Can you just
You have a
allow me
home
to
dog.
try to reverse Andy on this?
Your
please?
Giants are gonna win this week by
Sir,
3,
you
bro.
just
Relax.
gotta take a look
All
at the
right.
game.
Thank you,
and
fellas.
understand that it's a home dog. Okay, Philly again is a popular team. The book is giving out 7 points. You know what that means? 6 and 7. It's a great teaser game. It's a great game for the public
Sucker
to
bet.
tease. Everybody's gonna want to tease that game down to 1. That way, all the Eagles got to do is win. Once those things happen, for whatever reason, I don't know how Vegas is. They're clairvoyant. I think the team that's supposed to win
They
lose
know.
by 6 and 7. They end up winning by 1 at the end. I personally am on the Giants plus 7. I took them earlier today. I think that 7 is a nice number. Again, division games, man. For me, division games are huge.
My thing, again, going back to what you lean on, the regression to the mean, we're getting to that point now where, they're throwing the dudes that were bagging groceries, recently. You can't tell, you cannot tell a single person or recognize a single jersey that's out wide for them. And
but they're wearing those jerseys, man.
At some point, I understood, and
there was a quarterback that used to bag groceries, led him to a Super Bowl.
100%, 100%.
Things happen, man. You got an opportunity.
However,
man. My
point is, right? At what point does the Saquon train run out of steam?
Whoa! We're not gonna have any kind of that talk here. We are not gonna have any other kind of talk here. I will not stand for that.
Not this
Don't you
year,
dare
relax.
Andy
Sir,
on
I need
that
you.
guy.
I need you to lose.
Do
this
you
week.
not? Don't you dare Andy on that guy. You and I, we will have a
need
scuffle right here.
I need him to lose. I need Pudge to lose.
We will have a scuffle
beat me.
right here, sir.
I need to be right, but I need to win, and they need to lose.
You're not gonna beat me.
Okay, we're veering.
It's irrelevant.
We're veering off.
Don't
We're veering
you
off
talk
topic
about
here.
Saquon that way. As I was saying,
You need 3 things to happen. I just need one thing.
tell
Beat
you right now, that's going to be a good football game. The Eagles just come off of a big high of beating up on the Titans. That was a big emotional game for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown went off. This is
You
gonna be
see
a
that
nice,
coming
this
a
is
mile
gonna be
away, man. I knew,
It's gonna be a nice
I
little
knew that guy
letdown.
was going to
So
score
you're
a
saying
couple
it's a trap
touchdowns.
game?
It's not a trap. It's a nice little letdown spot for them.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are going to be fired up to play them. The Giants have life.
From your mouth to God's ears.
So, the other game that I am circling, I'm not going to lie, I want to see the Bengals and the Browns. I think that's going to be an interesting game. Again, another divisional game that I like. And I got to see what happens with the Ravens and the Steelers. We got to see what that Ravens offense can do without Lamar for the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be a tough test for them.
They're right there. They're right there. They're 8-4. So again, and they could easily be 11-1, easily.
Oh well, yeah, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, this
So-
is, and also you're playing at the Pittsburgh,
Correct.
the ultimate old school rivalry right here. So anything's up. I think Steelers win this game.
The
To be
only
honest,
positive with that is though that the Steelers are a favorite.
correct.
So again,
But I think they're
usually they play better as an underdog team. Tomlin is better as an underdog team.
But you know
They're
how
a
he
favorite.
coaches them.
Yeah, but he's a favorite, and
I know, but you know
you're
how
playing
he-
Pickett. You're
they-
playing a young
they-
quarterback. So again,
Yeah.
we'll see how this
They
works
still
out.
are. They're still in. I'm sure they still feel underdogish with how the season's played out. So,
100%.
but I'd be remiss if not.
I was just going to tell you, right?
Yes.
Let's close out the segment here with
we
the
go.
Miami Dolphins and the
Yep.
Los Angeles Chargers, and let's see, do they come back, right? Do they lick their wounds and get back on the horse here?
I see for sure a better game. The defense is not as challenging as last week's. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody's been hyping this up because of the quarterbacks. I think Tua obviously plays better if he's, I know he's got a little ankle, but I know he's going to play. Now, is it a win? Sunday night, they're desperate. They're 6-6. They lose this game, they're out of it. So I know we're going to get the best Charger team here, but I think Tua, if he just plays to his level, and I don't need that, perfection level, but I need at least his more accurate, make the right reads. At the end of the day, don't turn the ball over. We had a 4-1 turnover ratio against the Niners that cost us huge. Don't turn the ball over. We have a clean game. We win this game.
And I think that's the key, right? When he takes care of the ball, they're in a great position to to pull it
I
up.
have concerns because it's the second week in a row they're on the road. Again, it's and I hate that I'm always alluding to the gambling aspects of the game, but they've got 75-80% of the plays and only 60% of the money. So that to me tells me that there might be some respected money taking the Chargers at 3.5. It's one of those games that could go either way. We'll have to see what happens. The back end of the Chargers is good. Their defensive front is not very good, but their back end is solid.
Yeah, their defensive
So,
secondary is
again,
legit.
I think a lot of people are seeing what happened last weekend against the Raiders and taking that for granted. I think this is going to be a little bit tougher of a game, especially with Waddle dinged up. The 2 tackles are still in and out. And don't forget, the quarterback, Mr. Tua, did get an ankle.
Which is already
Got
surgically
rolled
repaired.
up. So again, those are the little things that concern me about this game. I don't think it's going to be as easy as it should be or
Right.
it could be.
Yeah, they're on the mend. All right, gentlemen, that does it for us with this episode's NFL talk. This episode or this segment was brought to you by Prodigy Coaches. Go to prodigycoaches.com for your customized tutoring experience. We'll be right back with some NCAA talk. The crew back at you with some college football talk. The college football playoff is set. Okay, USC's loss allowed OSU to sneak back into the top 4. Okay, and now we got the top 4 with Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State. Georgia is set to match up with Ohio State in the semifinal, and Michigan with TCU. Gentlemen, talk to me about your analysis from this past weekend and what we see with the final rankings.
Everything was status quo to me. The only game that screwed everything up was Friday. USC looked like they had the game in control, and they just, for some reason, Utah, gritty, just a team that has their number. Obviously, Caleb Williams getting hurt didn't help, but I think it's unfortunate. They had it right there. They were in the playoffs, and they did a big choke.
The Utes bring it home, baby.
Yeah.
The Utah Utes
and
bring
it's
it home.
upsetting because had they not lost to like the Gators, they would have been in.
Tell me about it. I had
You know
a
what I'm
ticket,
saying?
and I had a ticket for them.
And
I had my ticket
that's
was
the
on there.
unfortunate thing. They lose.
That's
to,
what kills
They
me.
lose to the
No,
UCLA, the Oregon.
They lost to Oregon and they lost to Florida.
No, but to
That's the
UCLA
one-
too. They
or-
lost.
No, they only lost 2. Then there's only
No,
UCLA.
they lost.
They lost 3. No, they only lost 2.
UCLA.
No, they only lost 2.
No, UC they banged the brakes off of UCLA.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. They only lost 2. They only lost 2.
Well, regardless, they shouldn't have lost.
No,
any.
I agree with you. Oh no, they did. They lost 3. They lost 3. It's 10-3. 10-3. Coaches.
Oh, yep.
The
And
Grizz
it was
right.
to
The Grizz
UCLA,
right.
correct?
Tell you right now, UCLA. Yep, UCLA,
Yeah.
Oregon.
Usually, don't ever question me because I'm
and
kind of right.
Florida.
Gotcha.
But having said that, anyway, USC they choked it, and then Saturday, everything was there. I mean, TCU was only going to not get in if they got blown out. You lose by a field goal to K-State, which is a tough team, a top 10 team. They were down by 18 to that same team and came back to win.
Because the quarterback got hurt.
Cool, the quarterback.
TCU loses that game if the second string quarterback doesn't get hurt.
Okay, well, they
I'm
didn't.
telling you.
They didn't.
And this time,
That's how it happened.
And this time he didn't get hurt,
Right.
and they won.
But yeah, they should have lost anyway with the quarterback because you go for 4 times from the 1 yard line in overtime. Come on, you got to score there.
They got stopped.
They got stopped. But having said that, I think they deserve to get in. I think they deserve
they
to be
did
the number 3 team.
They did everything.
The Big 12 was a better conference than what it's been said to be. I think the Pac-12 is a better conference than what's said to be as well. Too much talk on the SEC and Big Ten. It's a heavy set. You got the best teams are heavy. I get it. But these other teams are quality. I think TCU, great matchup for Michigan. And Ohio State, can't stand that team. They backed in there, but unfortunately, this is probably going to help them. Because the kind of hate that they've been receiving, that's all they've heard. And now they get... The only thing is playing Georgia in Atlanta, not ideal. Not ideal at all. But unfortunately, I think that game will be closer than people will think.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go the opposite way, and I think Georgia bangs the brakes off of Ohio State.
I hope so. I hope they lose by 40.
I think they're going into a black hole.
My biggest thing with that game is that Georgia's an extremely physical team. I think that their D-line matches up real well against that offensive line. Now, their DBs could be a from but I do think Georgia wins the game. Again, I had a ticket early on from our futures of Ohio State. I just bought Georgia money line the other day to win the national championship at minus 145, which I thought would be the best price I could get. It's already moved to minus 155. I do think Georgia is the odds-on favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've got the running game. I think they got the defense. I think they got the coaching staff to be able to do that. And I think that what they did the other night proved what Frankie and Morales was talking about over the last couple of weeks, that in the right circumstance, the right situation, that team is going to blow the brakes off of people. And this is that big game for them. They know that the OSU is in their way, and they got to win this to get to the national championship and be able to get the SEC championship and the national championship in the same season.
Look,
Which they were unable to do last year.
at the end of the day, Georgia played uninspired football all year long, and they still went undefeated because
Most of
they
the
knew
year.
most of the year.
because it's Tennessee. There's certain games
Right.
they got.
But when it came down to nut cutting time, they're like, "Look, this is who we are." Right? When it mattered, that's when they turned it on. Okay? And they're where they're supposed to be now. I likened it to, when the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers back in the day in basketball, they've won a couple championships, and then that third season or that third title, they're just disinterested throughout the season because, like, hey, let's just get to the playoffs. Right? And then they go in as the 4 or 5 seed or whatever it is, and then they just blow everybody out. That's what Georgia did. Now, they still went undefeated, which goes to show you just how much talent that they had.
And coaching. Again, I really think that the game plan that they put in place against Tennessee, and they beat up that quarterback. They beat him up. And again, and I think that shows a lot about that squad and about those guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a Michigan-Georgia championship. And to me, that's going to be, that's football heaven for me.
Now, as we discuss this and we discuss those 4 and we discuss teams that were left off, what if Mr. Dabo Sweeney would have started Club Dick for 3/4 of the season and benched DJ Uyunglele? What would have happened? What would they be sitting at?
They would be in the number 4 spot.
I would think so. I think they'd be at least 10-1.
They'd be 10-1. They'd be in the number 4 spot.
I think so.
Because they would have given them the benefit of the doubt, all right, from past.
You win the ACC championship with 1 loss, number 4 seed for sure.
And especially Clemson, which is a team that year in and year out has been winning 10 games. Even last year in a bad season, but he stuck to DJ too long, and DJ bit him in the butt. And now DJ is saying, "Bye, coach."
He's entering the transfer portal.
I'm out of here.
They got a 5-star.
But where's he gonna go? Who's gonna take him? What's he gonna do?
Because he's gonna start somewhere, coach. It may not be.
Let me know so I can fade them now.
It may not be at a like a Power 5
If it's
powerhouse.
not an option team, if it's not running the option, and they throw the football, I want to know because I'm fading that team.
But
tell you right now,
Clemson does have a history of doing this, right? Where they go with the dude that's been there for several years.
Negative.
Well, yeah.
They on the contrary, that's what everybody's been talking about.
They did that before they put Lawrence in. They rode with the older guy for 4 years, and then before that, when they had the off year, they did it with I'm blanking on his name after Deshaun Watson left.
They usually replace the guy with the young and up and comer if he's better, and that's what they've been discussing this whole season about DJ.
There's got to be something there that maybe the dude was in the doghouse. I don't know. But yeah, the coaching decision.
Kid made some nice throws on Saturday night. That kid played really, really well. He played really, really well against Carolina.
Now,
made nice runs too. He looked solid.
No, listen, and they're going to be right back.
He looked like he was a natural.
They're going to be right back in the conversation next year.
And he looked really strong.
They're going to be right back in the conversation next year, and they'll probably be in the playoff. So, but let's segue into what you alluded to with DJ and the transfer portal. Okay, it's become a situation now where these college players are using it as like de facto free agency, right? They're using it as leverage with no intention to leave. They're just trying to improve their financial stature with the NIL situation.
Let me tell you something. There's 7 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
7 starting quarterbacks that are leaving.
There was a graphic today on one of the shows, and it was the entire screen, and it was all starting quarterbacks. It's crazy.
Let's look at the facts, though. The guys on that list, are they the Heisman Trophy winners? Are they the guys that
May should have been in that conversation?
But he wasn't.
Wait, he has better stats than every guy that got.
He's not leaving.
He's
in the portal.
He's in the transfer portal as well.
Oh, interesting.
Most of them struggle, or sometimes the coach leaves or something.
No, but this is where I'm alluding to. DJ's leaving, coach is still there.
Yeah.
Leary from NC State is leaving.
But I'm not saying he's leaving because he's not. He knows the opportunity's gone.
Okay, but again, to me, that's why I respect Hurts so much, and And I want that kid to succeed and do nothing but succeed because he stuck it out at Alabama. And then left as a graduate after his time was done there.
With a master's, sir.
So now you got DJ, you got Leary, you got Slovis from Pittsburgh is leaving because Jerkovic is coming in from Boston College. Okay? You got Mertz from Wisconsin who's leaving. You got Sanders at Oklahoma State who's leaving. You got Pine from Notre Dame who's leaving. He's a freshman, young buck. You got the kid from Western Kentucky that threw for 4,000 yards this year. He's leaving. I heard today, I think the kid from West Virginia who's been at 4 schools already.
Yeah,
the kid from
it'll
USC,
be his, right,
Georgia,
it'll be his fourth
whatever.
school, correct.
It'll be his 4th school. So,
Well,
I mean,
but
it's like...
again, Coach, and what I said it earlier, some of these dudes, and I'm not... all of these guys may very well leave, but a lot of these guys are using the transfer portal as leverage with really no intention to leave. They're trying to scare these coaches and the boosters
Clemson's
trying to get a bag. They're trying to get a payday.
I mean, but it's,
You know? But listen, they wanted it.
That might be... I would
It
say
goes
that
both
for Leary-
ways.
for
It
Leary-
goes both ways now.
Leary, I could see that. Leary had a rough season with injuries and stuff like that. I could see that for Leary saying, man, like, I need more or whatever. I don't know. I'm just like...
It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword.
That are kind of surprising.
The players wanted the transfer portal, and now all these dudes are being poopy about their situations. But listen, you wanted the transfer portal. Now the coaches have the prerogative to use the transfer portal as they choose as well.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's okay all around. I think this is the new way of doing business. We are officially not college athletics anymore. This is officially the minor leagues.
And that's the other thing that worries me is that the NIL has also taken out the educational portion of this.
Yeah,
because a lot of these kids are not going to know what to do with their money,
but the big
how
guys,
to invest their money, et cetera, et cetera.
But some of these guys won't make it to the big leagues anyway to make any money, so they got to make some money. Then the biggest guys, like I said, the biggest names that will make the NFL, they're not going to be as concerned with all this NIL because they're going to make a lot of money in the league. And then, like I said,
but Grizz,
if they're going to make a couple bucks,
but Grizz, how many of those guys are broke at 45?
Even the ones that make a ton of money, they're always broke.
That because
so aprovecha and just get as much as you can when you can.
But my problem is that they don't know how to invest it.
Well, what we need to do is now start teaching these kids how to do that.
And that's why I say the educational portion of it is huge. Those that have been smart enough to parlay and education.
But these colleges need to start having these classes to help these kids to run their money.
Again, there are classes. There are finance classes you take in college. They don't take them.
But they need to be pushed into taking them. I don't know.
They don't.
Well,
what I'm trying to say is the smarter kids and the guys that do well.
Then you're going to go broke.
They make their money,
right?
But they use the education.
But besides football, that's in everything. If you don't want to go and try to help yourself keep the money, then you're destined to be a broke man.
Football is going to end. Now,
what is that? Where did that come from?
Jesus Christ!
Till the end of times, man.
Listen.
Said go get a couple bucks, man.
But listen, players are not going to play forever. Is what I'm trying to say.
All right, we get the robots going. Let's go.
You got to have something to fall back on, and I think that the NIL and some of these things are taking away some of those.
I think it's
they have to be smart enough to say yes, like you said, I'm going to get this much. But I also need to get a degree,
right?
Because when the shit hits the fan,
right,
the money might not still be there because I've made mistakes. If I have the degree and the money, then everything lasts that much longer.
When
my playing career is over, I don't have to go back to washing cars.
Once again, all this NIL stuff has been happening for years quietly. All these people kids not being able to transfer. I think you should. If you're not happy with the situation, you're a grown-ass adult, be able to go somewhere else.
Listen, and again,
this is what we have to adjust to.
I'm not going to get into the ethicals of it because, again, sadly, commitment doesn't mean anything. It doesn't go either way, and that's a shame because I do think that is the wrong message as well.
But once again,
because there's no commitment by anyone.
Coaches constantly leaving. It was year to year if they want to.
It was once a cornerstone of the game, right? Like commitment, determination, sticking it out, learning.
Well, when the game was invented,
fighting through adversity.
When the game was invented, usually there wasn't. Probably no planes to go fly. You had to commit to a place because that's where you were going to be forever.
Sir.
Little by little, adjustments.
My buddy and I.
There's been so many things.
No, but I disagree.
My buddy and I aren't that old, and we still bleed black and silver.
I disagree with that. I think commitment is something that when players
If you
commit,
would have had that NIL money, let's see if you could have had a chance. You're talking a big game because you didn't have it at the moment.
Well, we're talking about high school, and sadly, this has trickled down to high school as well.
I go back to, and I keep using him as an example. I think Jalen Hurts is a perfect example of commitment, of teamwork, of being a true leader.
Right.
Okay, and he only left after he finished his graduate situation there, and he got that 5th year to go play at Oklahoma. Beautiful. Great job. I wholeheartedly support that.
Who knows what his situation was where he could do that.
Again, listen.
Maybe someone else had to leave to go to another college immediately and get things done.
Like I said, my thing is he committed to Bama. He finished his time at Bama. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the problem with this, that everybody leaves as soon as it gets tough. Life is tough. Things are tough. And we are not learning that. We are not understanding that sometimes you have to face adversity.
All right, and those kids that are going to be jumping back and forth,
listen,
are going to be forgotten.
I gotta agree with the coach here.
Of course you do.
It's a loss.
I don't think there's a wrong answer either way.
But it's a lost characteristic in this game. This game, it was to teach these young kids how to be men and fight through adversity. It was part of it.
It was part of playing this game.
It was a microcosm of life.
But that's in basketball. That's in all sports. Now, and it's happening in all sports now in college.
Speaking of this, and this is related, Jackson Smith and Jigba for Ohio State pulls out of the playoff and declares for the draft, and he will not play in the college football playoff.
He's been out for 5 weeks. 6 weeks. I don't know.
But that is that. I mean, that's just like no. He's healthy. He could have played. Like how do you not play in the college football semifinal?
He's chosen not to.
Who is this?
The receiver for their top receiver for Ohio State. He's not playing in the playoff. Okay. That kills me.
And that takes us to our next situation.
That's happened long before. There's been kids that just
not long before. That's been happening in the last 5 years.
No, that's happening a lot more.
No, that's happening in the last 5 years. Because Melvin Bratton lost his knees
a lot more
in a bowl game.
Yes,
with the Hurricanes. So there was no opting out. No, that's happened in the last 5 or 6 years. That's become popular.
I don't want to play
in the last 5 or 6 years. That never happened before.
It started with like the Javion Clowney and
everybody played. Yes. But
but they weren't in contention for a national title, Grizz.
That's the new trend the last 5 or 6 years. Like I said, brother.
The dudes that you're talking about were not in contention for a national title. They weren't the number one receiver for a semifinal team.
That commitment, all that stuff is something.
Forget that guy then. That guy's not worth you. Who cares?
And
you're bad for picking that guy on your team.
That takes
great talent with no heart.
Well, you don't know that when you see him playing high school ball.
Jesus Christ.
That's the thing. You don't know about
we go into the bowl games. And again, the bowl games now, this is the difficult part of picking games and who wins or not. Because the question is to be or not to be motivated. Who's got the motivation to win? Who doesn't care? Who's like, man, we should have won this champ. We should have been in the playoffs. And they don't have that motivation to play.
And that's another thing that's been going on for years, too.
Well, and that's human nature, though.
I'll remember specifically, especially when Nick Saban first started coaching with Alabama and they lost that first championship game against T-Boy. They played the Utes in the Sugar Bowl. And they got romped because,
correct.
It's human nature. You get disappointed.
But that's human nature.
Yeah, that's human, always been.
I'm just saying that's human nature.
Now you add that some people are like opting out to not play and all that.
Becomes now you have to wait. You have to wait till almost the last minute,
right,
to see who you're going to pick to win,
right,
or what plays you're taking.
Correct.
You get me? So with that being said, we did take Duke +1 because they're motivated. I think they're going to be motivated to play that game. They're playing UCF, and again. Motivation.
Motivation's key.
What's the motivation?
Playing in the bowl game.
Oh, heard. I do want to touch, before we close out the segment here, USC only has 2 losses, and they were both to Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we're talking about Utah. Utah had 3.
Got it.
Utah was 3.
Got it. You guys confused.
So if I speak about a team, I'm correct, sir.
Now listen, and again, and to end it, the coaches that are being hired, we got Sanders at Colorado. We got Fickle left Cincinnati to go to Wisconsin. You have Hugh Freeze at Auburn. Satterfield left Louisville to go to Cincinnati. And guess what? Those 2 teams play in 2 weeks.
Interesting. And he's got a coach on the other side.
I have no idea.
How do you do that?
I have no idea how that's
I
going to
think
work
that's
out.
one of those where you don't coach anything.
I have no idea.
No, he's got to pull out. He's got to pull out from
Hey,
here.
whoa. A lot of people have said that and have not. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Wilson.
I don't know what that is.
Pulling out? Yeah, I hear you. Wilson, the offensive coordinator at OSU, he's going to Tulsa. He's the new head coach at Tulsa. So
It's gonna be interesting.
That's
That's a
obviously,
curveball, dude.
it's gonna be a
what
lot
do you
of
do?
fun.
What do you do there,
I'm
coach?
telling you,
What would you do? Would you coach the game
Listen,
on the other side?
well, that's one thing that it's hard. Like what you don't coach. You got to
you
step
don't
aside.
coach.
You just got to step aside. Let your coordinator take over.
And there's a lot of times
Louisville,
when you don't play
and-
the team and the guy doesn't coach anyway. So
And
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Exactly, and you don't do it. You go up to the press box, watch the game, take notes, and move on.
Well,
I hear you.
We were talking before, and all the names you said, the biggest name there was Dion. And the fact that, we were talking off air that I thought that was a fantastic hire. I just want to, let it be known again that I think just giving a guy like that a chance to make that move was huge.
It's perfect timing.
Huge.
USC and UCLA are leaving.
Well, they're leaving.
Not
So,
yet.
well, one more year.
That's the plan.
One more year.
You never know.
But again, he's setting it
And
up
the
for.
Pac-12 has already signed up for the national championship or the playoffs and stuff like that.
They're going to the Big Ten, Coachy.
Oh, again,
Well, you
we'll
got
see.
1 year.
We will see. We'll see. That still has not happened.
What is not a?
It's not. I mean, that's tentative.
Oh, they're gone.
Yeah, they're out the gate. Anywho, I could do this all day. Spirited discussion. But we're gonna close this segment out, and we're gonna be right back with the deep dive because I know he's rearing to get those picks out there this week.
We're always rearing.
And we're back here to close out the show with the patented deep dive, which has been en fuego the past few weeks. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going. Coach, take it away.
No, we've had a good solid 5 weeks. Once again, as I always say, I'm very thankful and I praise God for all the stuff that we have done and for the games that we've been able to win. Last week we only lost on Ohio at +2.5, and I won Jacksonville +1. We went 5-2 to close out the regular season with championship week. Next week I'm going to tally up from week 0 all the way through championship week and give everybody the totals. We did have a good season. I want to say we're about at 55% win percentile. The NFL, we've been really, really good with the NFL plays. So now we'll be a little bit more focused on the NFL, and then we'll start slowly getting into college basketball. I did take 2 plays tonight for college basketball. We'll see how that works out. As far as the Bulls are concerned, as I was talking about earlier, it's going to come down to a lot of motivation and who's playing, who's not. So it's going to be not easy to put out the plays on the right time. We will be putting stuff on Twitter. Like I said yesterday, we put out the under for the game last night on Twitter. Well, I do have one early play. I like Duke +1. I got it at +1. It's already moving to pick 'em. I think Duke is going to be very highly motivated to play in that game. I think Elko's done a great job. I think the quarterback for Duke is a really, really good player. I think he's a solid kid. You may be able to wait closer to game time and might move back to -1 as more people will take the well-known name of Central Florida, who did play for the American Championship, and they're up in there. We have 3 plays for the NFL. We're on Denver at +9.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah.
That's right.
Let's go. That's how it is. I mean, divisional underdog at home. Kansas City's coming off of a tough game with Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a little bit closer to 9.5. We like the Giants at +7. Again, another home dog, divisional home dog. And we're going to ride with the Lions this week, money line. That game is a little suspicious as the game opened 2.5 for Minnesota, and the Lions completely flipped to Detroit. Detroit is now a 2-point favorite in that game. So that's where we're at. That's what we like. We're going to ride that.
I'm still I got a sick feeling in my stomach. That 9.5 call there.
So listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I took them on my own last week against Baltimore. We all know how that game ended.
You gonna take anything on the Cadets game this weekend?
Sir, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that one. I am on the Navy. I took Navy -1. That line has kind of steamed up to Navy. It might be a smart play just to take a money line if it gets to -2. But I took a -1. It's up to -1.5 and 2 at most books. So the under started at 33. It's already at 32. It's supposed to be a windy game. It's crazy. It's disgusting.
I'm always about the under in that game.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Maybe a smart move would be to Wong tease it and tease it to 39.
Yeah.
And tease the
That game
and
smells
tease
like
Navy.
Nobody's scoring more than 17 points at most. Well, that would be more than 33. But I'm saying, I think like a 13-10 scores in order there.
Again, that's going to be a real slobber knocker of a game like it always is.
Of course.
Both teams know each other well. They play every year, so it's going to be interesting.
Legit.
The other games that we're looking at, again, they're all disgusting games. We're leaning towards Cleveland +6.
My God.
We like it. We may go again out with Jacksonville if it gets to 4. I don't know. That's a divisional road dog. Tennessee has been playing well. Jacksonville's job just hasn't been able to finish out games and play well. The Chargers, if it gets to 3.5, the Chargers +3.5 is a good take.
Jacksonville should have won. I mean, they got blown out last week, but man, they had it there. They would have won only 2 games behind Tennessee with the 2 games with Tennessee. They had it there.
Like I said, I don't know why they've been struggling like that.
But Jacksonville, we kind of,
They're young. They're young.
They're young until they're not anymore.
Correct.
I think they surprise people next year.
So you
to
run
be
out of
honest with
time.
you.
That's the story of a team like Jacksonville. I think next year.
No, I think honestly, I think
that's what a lot of people thought this year.
I think they turned the corner.
The other game that we're going to watch and just take a look at the line.
Hope they don't go in circles.
Touche, sir.
Is the Niners. It went down to 3.5, but it stayed there. The majority of the bets are on Tampa Bay. If it stays there, it moves it back up to 4. You might want to lay the 4 with
No
Stafford
chance.
again.
So it's the GOAT against Purdy.
Yes, sir.
Wow, this is where we're at.
That's where we're at. That's what we do.
And we got it on Purdy.
That's what we do. That is what we do, guys.
It's kind of like he's looking himself in the mirror, huh?
I don't think so.
What
But,
stretch.
I mean, it could be.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, late picks. Diamond in the rough.
They're exactly the same after one game.
Late pick, diamond in the rough. Hey, man, projecting forward.
Wow.
Listen, to be clear, that was a take that was said on national TV, and I did a head turn there as well.
Someone said that.
RC, Ryan Clark was like, I fully believe that this could be the diamond in the rough, a la Tom Brady. I was like, what? Huh?
And you know what's good about Ryan Clark? He knows how to get clickbaits there.
Correct.
Because that is a clickbait-worthy talk.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's no way in his heart of hearts he believes that.
I don't know, man. He looked pretty serious about it.
Stop it. Stop it. We need a little bit more sample.
We will hear none of that noise as of right now.
No. He takes him to the championship game. We can talk. This was one game.
But we shall see.
Relax.
We shall see. The kid is no
We shall
slouch.
see everything because there's a game next week, so we shall see.
We are a show of integrity, sir.
Correct.
We keep each other accountable.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I think we're done here, gentlemen. Great show. Love the banter. 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.